Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
We've had one trailer, one utility vehicle, and 4 mowers stolen off of our lot.
A Fargo business is looking at some major security changes after several thefts over the last year. The most recent crime at Fargo Tractor was caught on camera.
People working there called our whistleblower hotline. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer tells us how much the thefts have cost them and what they're doing about it.
There, he's loading the first one up.
Brandon Furkenhoff is watching the latest theft from the place he's worked at for a long time. That's Fargo Tractor.
Like he's got a hoodie or a hat on. It's tough to tell what he looks like.
And in all the years he's been working here, he tells us this past one has been record-breaking when it comes to their equipment disappearing. How much does that cost, that equipment that was taken?
In total, within this last year, what we've had disappear is probably $40,000 to $50,000.
And it's not just lawnmowers and trailers that have disappeared, but even batteries right out of tractors.
It's kind of frustrating to come into work and see you're missing equipment off the lot.
And that's why Furkenhoff tells us they're looking at making some drastic changes to this lot. They already have security cameras up, but they're considering locking down the equipment when they're not here. And he says it might even come to fencing in this whole space, hoping they can finally stop these thefts.
We haven't been able to recover anything up until this point.
But Furkenhoff wants the surveillance video to change that. He tells us he's passed it along to police. And from now on, you can bet they'll be keeping a close eye on their cameras so they can finally get some of their stolen stuff back. In Fargo, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Police tell us this is an active case, adding that they're looking at the surveillance footage to figure out who the person is.
If you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline and we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Call 237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth.
Almost 300 students didn't show up for Fargo School today at Fargo North after a threat of a school shooting was discovered yesterday afternoon. We were the first to tell you last night how teachers at the school found the threat written on a desk. It said, "I want to run away. School shooting, 9/4/19."
Investigators checked out the threat and determined it was a hoax. However, extra police showed up this morning as a precaution. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter, Bailey Hurley, talked with school officials today, and she joins us now in the studio with more. Bailey.
Mike, Andrea, school officials say it's unclear if all 296 students who called out today did so out of fear from Tuesday's threats, but officials say most were absent for the entire school day. Now, Superintendent Dr. Rupak Gandhi says after discovering the threat yesterday, Fargo Public Schools used their threat screener and worked with Fargo Police and later determined there was, quote, no legitimacy to that threat being carried out.
Is there a plan or are there access to anything that could carry out this threat? What was the context in which the threat was made? Because sometimes some things could just be stated or in this case written and they're meant to be a joke or they're not serious. So all of those things play into a factor of determining whether a threat is truly credible or not.
Fargo police had an extra presence on campus today, but because the threat was found improbable, FPS says there were no extra precautions taken at other schools nearby. Now, Dr. Gandhi says while there's always a concern for copycats, nothing led FPS to believe that would be a problem today. FPS says they will not be identifying the student responsible or what consequences they could be facing. Mike?
We reached out to both West Fargo and Moorhead schools for a comment on how this scare affected their students, but haven't heard back yet.
The weather today has been much better, giving everyone the opportunity to get out and enjoy it tonight. So let's toss it over to Hutch, who's here with a no-wait look at tonight's weather. Hutch?
Yeah, we're looking out at our Dakota Magic Casino camera, and the wind is definitely switched directions today from the south, and really it's warmed up pretty nicely into the 70s across much of the Dakotas. Right now, the radar quiet, minus a couple of blips not likely reaching the ground, but more activity up in Saskatchewan will be heading our way for later tonight. Temperatures are hot in southwestern North Dakota, near 90 there, while it's in the 60s in Fargo and much of northwest Minnesota. We'll stay in the 60s this evening. We will have increasing clouds, and notice on that last frame at 1 o'clock in the morning, our chance of overnight thunderstorms is in the mix. It'll be more likely up to the north a few of these storms could be strong. I'll have hour-by-hour details on the timing and track of those storms as we talk here in just a few more moments.
No 80s up there.
And no 80s up there.
All right, thanks.
There's another scam that's starting to make its way around the metro. This one involves a man pretending to be a special agent with the Attorney General's office who claims he's working on behalf of the IRS. The scammer says your bank account was used to set up illegal bank accounts for drug cartels in Texas. They go on to say there's a federal warrant out for your arrest unless you pay off your fine. The scammer identifies himself as a special agent Josh Penn with the A312 area code. Deputies are reminding you to never give out your personal information to anyone over the phone.
144 North Dakotans died from suicide in 2018. The number who attempted suicide, higher. The Department of Health says in order to improve prevention efforts, it needs better information. Lawmakers provided that help today. The Health Department, starting October 1st, will collect data to show more of the circumstances surrounding an attempted or completed suicide. And with more information, the department says it will get a better understanding of each incident, leading to more targeted and hopefully effective prevention efforts.
That is law enforcement reports, that is coroner medical examiner reports, and through combining all three of these data sources, we're telling a bigger picture of this person's life.
The department will also start collecting data on a number of other events, including overdoses and how many babies are born addicted to drugs.
The state health department also reported the first case of severe respiratory illness related to vaping. The department says it's heard reports of other people from 16 to 55 years old having similar symptoms. The department also established a new reporting system to figure out how far-reaching the problems are, and patients a wide range of young, old, modified, and non-modified devices.
As of yesterday, we have a system in place for healthcare providers and their patients to call so they can report, so we can get an idea of how many issues we have in North Dakota.
25 other states have reported more than 200 cases of respiratory illness caused by e-cigarettes.
Quitting smoking is hard, and trying to quit without help can be even harder. But treatment can also be expensive. Now, a new study says offering smokers free treatment to help them quit is cost effective. Minnesota researchers analyzed a clinical trial that involved smokers with public health insurance. They found offering programs like nicotine replacement therapies and telephone coaching for free helped more users quit, which saved the insurance companies money in the end. The study was funded by the National Cancer Institute, and for more on this study, go to our website, valleynewslive.com, and click on this story.
North Dakota is receiving a grant worth over $4 million from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to fight the opioid crisis. Senators Kevin Cramer and John Hoeven both announced the grant this morning. In total, the department will be investing over $1.8 billion across all 50 states to help with opioid relief. The CDC also announced more than $900 million in funding for a 3-year agreement that will help with understanding the epidemic and also scale up prevention across the country. By the end of the year, the U.S. Health Department plans to have awarded over $9 billion in grants to states and communities for more access to treatment and prevention services.
North Dakota's 5th medical marijuana shop opens next week in Jamestown. Dispensaries are already open in Fargo, Grand Forks, Williston, and Bismarck. Devil's Lake will be the next site to open, also a dispensary. Voters in North Dakota approved medical marijuana in November of 2016. The state expects as many as 4,000 residents will legally be using medical marijuana by next summer.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, it's time to get moving as a principal in the Valley hopes his plan will help students avoid obesity.
You looked out the window this morning and it looked pretty decent, but in Skyme you look up and on the roof there's a frost. Frost this morning and thunderstorms later tonight. Your hour-by-hour forecast is next.